You need help in week 3. We're here for that with all the injured players. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people going through the ringer right now, Bloom, in terms of fantasy football, but let's start week 3 preview part 1 here on the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom with a Thursday night AFC East scorcher question mark. New England Patriots versus the New York Jets. Patriots side first. Combinations real simple. Ramondre Stevenson, and you keep using more Hunter Henry. See which one of these wide receivers wants to be a what the heck flex this week. But Stevenson, Gibson is what the heck flex in there again this week. Could pay off. They might have learned a thing or two after what they did last week against Seattle.
Yeah, one time a great rivalry. Everything's Steelers centric. It's a Steelers show. The Jets, the Rex Ryan Jets beating the Patriots in the playoffs helped the Steelers win a great Super Bowl over the Cardinals. This game's going to be more competitive than we thought. More competitive than we thought because the Patriots are better than we thought, and you're going to see Jacoby Brissett play ball control. And you're going to see a lot of Ramondre Stevenson. Like you said, if there's a play in his passing game, it's Hunter Henry. We're going to watch Jalen Polk. We're going to see if he starts to come on, although he might see some Sauce Gardner here. Again, there's nobody emerging yet from this wide receiver group, but it's not stopping them from being competitive. Remember, Jordan Mason really got on track against this Jets defense in week 1. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, who looked really good, 1-2 punch there for this Patriots team. So, yeah, they're going to go into New Jersey. And not only is this game more competitive than we expected because the Patriots are better than we thought, but the Aaron Rodgers Jets, not exactly high flying.
Not high flying, and they've got their own 1-2 punch at running back with Braylon Allen now doing a little bit more. Maybe what the heck flex plus? Everything's a plus now, Bloom.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Audible
We were
Plus.
the
What the
first.
heck?
Sorry, Joe Plus. We were the
Yeah,
first.
exactly. What the heck flex plus for Braylon Allen? And then Brees Hall there. And then people are wondering, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do a little bit more as a passer?
See, isn't it great to have lived long enough to see the running game and running backs come back in style?
Yeah, well, you look at just who's winning this year. It's not the
Yeah.
passing teams.
No, and it's the McShanahan tree, right? I mean, it is the teams that use the run to set up the pass. And if teams want to play Tampa 2, that's fine. The running backs will continue to rule the day like they did for the Jets against Tennessee. And yeah, Braylon Allen, like you said, he's hot. And sometimes you just don't argue with it. And they're giving him the touches in the red zone. Not that it's going to hurt Brees Hall again, because this backfield produced 3 touchdowns last week. Aaron Rodgers is not going to necessarily win any leagues for you, and maybe neither will Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson might see some Christian Gonzalez here. Mike Williams playing more snaps, maybe that loosens things up. But I think both of these teams, this is a common refrain so far this year. Both of these teams will be content to play conservative. They'll be content to play ball control. Herm Edwards, every drive that ends in a kick kind of football. Don't make any mistakes. And we'll see maybe if Aaron Rodgers is knocking off some rust. And again, if the Patriots can continue to show, not only are they not going to pick number 1, Cease, but they may hang around. Remember, they lost in overtime last week, or we'd be talking about the 2-0 Patriots.
Yeah. Well, so here we go. New York Giants, excuse me, versus the Cleveland Browns. Is Malik Neighbors going to get 18 targets again? Like, yeah, maybe. That sounds like a good plan, comparatively speaking to what else
Yeah.
they've got. Of course, Devin Singletary there as well. So let's talk Giants side, which should mean a lot of neighbors, but it's the Browns, and it's on the road against the Browns. Could be a tough combination for Daniel Jones.
It should be. And sometimes we're recontextualizing as we go forward. We look backward and redefine what we saw. But sometimes when we're in week 3, we have 2 vastly different data points. And we know that week 3 will be somewhere in between week 1 and week 2. You know, the Giants got absolutely embarrassed, pantsed by the Brian Flores Vikings. And then, as you said, with Malik Neighbors getting 18 targets, Daniel Jones settled down. The Giants didn't win. If their kicker hadn't gotten hurt, maybe they would have beat the Commanders. They were at least competitive in a game. You have to think that, at least in terms of fantasy forecasting, Malik Neighbors is going to get a lot of targets again. Malik Neighbors could easily end up being a top 6, top 8 receiver. He could be what we wanted Garrett Wilson to be, speaking of those New York teams. And as long as the Giants are competitive, and you think they'll be competitive here just because the Browns aren't going to run away from anybody. So Devin Singletary looking good. There should be a positive game script. There's not much else to look for here. Maybe Wan'Dale Robinson, again, in a game where the Giants were struggling. So if the Browns, Myles Garrett and company really get after Daniel Jones, maybe we see an adjustment to more Wan'Dale Robinson targets. I don't know, but we will see Daniel Jones off the ropes in terms of putting that injury guarantee in people's minds, thinking that it's over, and we'll see some Drew Lock. Maybe we'll start to hear that again after this game, or maybe we'll hear that Malik Neighbors could save Daniel Jones and Brian Dable's jobs.
Do they want him to do that?
Right?
I don't know. I'm not
Sorry,
sure.
Giants fans.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, everybody. That was a miss. Let's talk about the Browns side and just the changes. One, David Njoku may be back. Full disclosure, it's Wednesday morning when we record this. I'm just waking up, but David Njoku may be back. We'll put a pin in that. But let's see if Jerry Jeudy continues to do more than Amari Cooper.
Mhm.
Let's see if Dante Foreman does more than Jerome Ford. Let's see what Deshaun Watson does at home against the Giants. They should be able to do a few things,
A
Bloom.
few.
What do those include?
Right. And again, this is one where we have two very different data points. Against the Cowboys in Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, well, we all started looking up Jameis Winston in our two quarterback superflex leagues, and hoping if you had Amari Cooper, et cetera, that maybe we'd see Jameis Winston. Now, it wasn't like Deshaun Watson was that much better against Jacksonville, but the Browns were able to win. The Browns were able to stay in the lead. And Deshaun Watson, well, we know that this is not the Deshaun Watson from the Texans, that Deshaun Watson. We're not going to see that Deshaun Watson again. Will we see a Deshaun Watson who at least can make Jerry Jeudy a good target? Because we're also talking about the Browns tackles. We're still waiting for them to get healthy. Conklin and Wills. Maybe they'll be rusty. Not great when you're facing Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, the Giants, and their pass rush. So this could be a long afternoon for Deshaun Watson. Jerry Jeudy, I guess the best you could say is a what the heck flex. The other thing I'm going to watch here is Jerome Ford, because we saw Dante Foreman, 14 carries, 3 yards per carry, a fumble at the goal line. And we also saw Pierre Strong go down with a hamstring injury. So I think we could see the pendulum swing back to Ford here. And if there is a Brown that you're going to put in your lineup, assuming Njoku's not back, let's wait. Let's watch that as we get closer to, if it was a ankle sprain, I almost hope he's not back. If you want to have him for later, maybe for when Jameis Winston does eventually take over, we'll see if the Giants can add to the case that, yeah, it's not going to happen for Deshaun Watson in Cleveland.
Yeah, not going to happen. But now it's time for Malik Willis revenge game. Okay, yeah, Green Bay and Tennessee is up next. Well, I see they put Chris Brooks, right? Because they put
Yeah.
Marshawn Lloyd on IR, so Chris
Ugh.
Brooks there. But it's Josh Jacobs. It's Josh Jacobs, and then it's more Josh Jacobs with a dash of what Malik Willis is going to do on offense on the road against Tennessee. Should feel pretty energized, Bloom.
A dash, because unless Tennessee can jump out to lead, unless a team puts the Packers down by 2 scores, we saw that Matt LaFleur is going to set up Malik Willis for success, build that confidence. Why is it so hard for other offensive coordinators to do this? And that means low pass volume. The Packers defense is good enough. We're going to see that again. So you're probably not playing anybody from this passing game. Maybe Jaden Reed. That's it. But you absolutely are playing Josh Jacobs. And you got Emmanuel Wilson behind him, but Chris Brooks, a Matt Waldman favorite. They nabbed him away from whenever the Dolphins didn't keep him. So this is going to be an interesting guy, because we're still waiting now. If Jacobs goes down, it's not A.J. Dillon. Now it's not Marshawn Lloyd. Is it Chris Brooks over Emmanuel Wilson? Just check that out. And the Packers, you got to say it again, this was a team that we said had the worst backup quarterback situation. Even after they acquired Malik Willis, most people said they still have the worst backup quarterback situation, and they're winning. And that means they don't have to rush Jordan Love back. And it means that even though you aren't hearing it, Cease, we're watching the NFC right now. San Francisco weakened, right? Detroit, not looking that great on offense. Philly, a mortal team. Maybe eventually we'll be talking about Green Bay as a team that has a shot to run the table in the NFC.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be interesting if Jordan Love got more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers, because he only got one?
Well, Mike McCarthy's not his coach.
Ha! And that one had to be at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It
Rashard
is a Steelers show.
Mendenhall. It's a Steelers show.
Mendenhall. Yes, shake our fists at the air. You're shaking your fists if you have Titans on your roster, I guess. I don't know. We know it's more Tony Pollard than Tyjae Spears, which makes me very sad. We know Will Levis is maddeningly inconsistent. Trying to be nice, Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Mm-hmm.
he's got some targets. We know he's got some blankety blankers at those
Yeah,
targets. It's
yeah.
just he's not getting them the ball as much.
Will Levis actually played pretty well last week, except for those couple of plays. Is this just gonna be the story?
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
evergreen,
yeah.
Will Levis pretty good if you just take away those really, really bad plays that lost
Mhm.
the game for the team. But
Those
this is
viral plays that are embarrassing.
right, the plays that Brian Callahan is saying, "What are you doing out there?" A Jekyll and Hyde, and Green Bay's defense is good, okay?
Mm.
So, Rashawn Gary company, and they're gonna introduce themselves to Will Levis. You probably play Calvin Ridley because you saw him score as a runner and a receiver, and again, Will Levis, 80% of the plays, he's got tools. He can deliver the ball. He can put it on Calvin Ridley downfield. John Gray Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, etc. They're not much of a fantasy factor or even really a factor to get this offense clicking. It is Tony Pollard. We might see Tajay Spears, but it's Tony Pollard. Even if Brian Callahan said he wanted the split to be closer to 50-50 than it was in week one, Spears gets banged up last week, and Pollard continues to look like a feature back. And we can say that at least partially it was the injury lingering, the after effects of that surgery and injury he had 2 years ago. And this is the Tony Pollard. If we just got this Tony Pollard and the opportunity he had last year, he might have been a league winner. He's not getting that kind of opportunity, but a good enough opportunity to be in your lineup. And Tennessee, is this going to be another game where you're going to look at it and say, if you just take away these one or two plays, they could win? Or is Green Bay again going to show, hey, on the road against Will Levis, this is going to be a layup?
Yeah, layup inbounds for the Indianapolis Colts? Question mark because of the struggles of the Chicago Bears. Nobody should be losing their mind. Caleb Williams still has a ton of talent. You question the coaching staff. You always question the coaching staff because the talent again. Why don't other teams make people come to look at what Green Bay's doing with Malik Willis? Like
Right,
you're not doing that with Caleb Williams. What?
right, right.
You got all this talent. What? Now some of the talent's banged up, right? Keenan and Roma Dunze and all that. But like you got DJ Moore, he's not happy.
Mm-mm.
So there's the entertainment portion of what we do, and then there's the football portion. I'd rather live in the football portion because I'm not panicked about Caleb Williams. I don't care about his pink purse or whatever. Like it makes zero blanks to me. Sorry, Joe. But can he look better against the Colts this time? Yeah, I'm doubtful about
Right.
that.
Well, hopefully he doesn't need to, because what we've seen is Josh Jacobs sets a career high in carries against the Colts. Joe Mixon, 30 carries, 150 some yards against the Colts. So 2 weeks, run the ball against the Colts. By the way, DeForest Buckner on IR now. So again, run the ball against the Colts. The Bears can't protect Caleb Williams right now. Caleb Williams, like you said, Cease, I'm not worried about him long term, but in the short term, you're going to play DJ Moore and you want some more short passes, put the ball on DJ Moore in space and hopefully the accuracy to set him up for run after catch opportunities, but nothing unless it's off of play action, developing downfield. Really, the players we're talking about here are DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert. And Herbert, at least a what the heck flex this week. I don't know how you go into this game. And you see, maybe the name that I haven't said yet that this all really revolves around is Shane Waldron. Maybe Shane Waldron's not that great. I mean, look at how the Seahawks offense has seemed so much more agile in terms of game planning and meeting the day than they were last year. So I do think that maybe Shane Waldron is not setting Caleb Williams up for success, but this is one of those games where a very simple game plan should be able to at least keep the Bears in this game. We're watching to see if Keenan Allen's going to play, watch to see if Roma Dunze is a little sharper as he's a little banged up, but I don't think you're going to go with them because the game plan here is, again, 35 carries between Swift and Herbert. That sounds like a way to at least stay in this game, if not win.
Yep. If not to win, Colts side is well. Keep giving it to Jonathan Taylor, please and thank you. Done. There's the Colts side. Well,
Right.
if they wanted to, let's see if that's actually what they do this week.
Anthony Richardson has another test, another learning experience. Bears defense is good, but like you said, Cease, why can't this just be a running game against running game kind of game? Jonathan Taylor was really good last week. For whatever reason, they went away from him. It was 16-3, but I think that you could still keep using Jonathan Taylor in the fourth quarter. If you have hope for Anthony Richardson here, it's that Josh Downs should be back this week. He was a game time decision last week. I like when it's a high ankle sprain in the preseason. If he's a game time decision, give him one more week. that was the favorite target for Anthony Richardson last year before Richardson went down, and in camp before Downs went down. And you add in Alec Pierce, who has that chemistry. Michael Pittman hopefully has a little more consistent hands here. AD Mitchell can run some deep routes. So we'll see. I think as far as fantasy, it's Anthony Richardson, because he showed even in a terrible, terrible day, his floor game was still about 15 points in most leagues. You'll take that when you know you have 30 plus points in play. Not a lot of designed runs either. So maybe that is something they have up their sleeves here. If they have more downfield targets, more passing plays, because Shane Steichen maybe overthinking the Jonathan Taylor issue, but giving Anthony Richardson and his immense arm talent and ability to keep plays alive, the ability to go deep. So run to set up the pass for them too. Again, common refrain in 2024 NFL, probably a lot of running, a lot of conservative play, but you've got two quarterbacks who can make it happen outside of structure too.
Yep. 4 games down, 4 games to go, and part one of the week 3 preview here on the Audible. And this one's exciting. Houston and Minnesota. It's exciting because of Sam Darnold. We'll get to him in a little bit, but let's talk about the Texans side. And you mentioned Joe Mixon getting everything. Well, against Minnesota, do you set him up with a bunch of Joe Mixon and then, of course, working in all of the talented weapons around CJ Stroud? Houston, Green Bay, Houston Super Bowl. Yeah,
Why not?
I take it. I take it.
Yeah, I think the idea here is massage your brain and be open to different possibilities than you might have thought were possible a few weeks ago when we start projecting the Super Bowl. Just because, again, it's all about Derek Carr in the NFL this year. I mean, that's how topsy turvy it is. It is about Brian Flores' defense, creating chaos, making pressure. I think we will see CJ Stroud, like you said, Cecil should be balanced. Now, Joe Mixon had that ankle injury, so we're going to watch practice. It would be Cam Akers, Dare Ogunbowale, because Damian Pierce had a hamstring that kept him out last week. So we even see Britton Brooks get a little action in the backfield here if Pierce and Mixon are both out. And with Mixon, there's always the possibility with an ankle injury of a re-injury there. The one thing we know for sure in this offense, Nico Collins. If we were drafting today, Nico Collins would be a first round pick. If you had a second round pick and you use it on Nico Collins, congratulations. There's your clear number one. Tank Dell is still just a what the heck flex until he gets going. He will get going. Maybe not in this game again with Brian Flores' defense putting a lot of pressure on CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, more of a low ceiling what the heck flex or wide receiver 3 flex in a revenge game. See, there's a long-term revenge game. Maybe he wants more revenge on Buffalo than Minnesota. Minnesota, they don't really want revenge on anybody. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year, Cease.
Not with Sam Darnold there. He's so mad at Kyle Shanahan. It's like, Kyle's liked you for a long time, man. They got Brock Purdy. So, but Sam's a competitor, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're looking for? You're looking for the guys who are competitors. And then we're looking to see what's Justin Jefferson like. What's the injury report again? Wednesday morning, we're recording this, so put a pin in that, Bloom, because certainly a lot of things hinge on what Jefferson will be able to do this week.
Yeah, and even if Jefferson plays, Darnold, this is a good Houston pass rush. Danielle Hunter, former Viking, remember those edge rushers, Jonathan Greenard, Danielle Hunter switched teams this offseason. Kind of a trade, not an official trade, but basically a trade. So Darnold, this could be a shootout or this could be a game defined by the pass rushers. We'll see. If Jefferson's on the field, he's in. Jordan Addison could be back, which would take Jalen Naylor out of what the heck flex range, but then maybe Jalen Naylor could score again. A lot of positivity. Jalen Naylor coming on in dynasty leagues. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire. Aaron Jones fumbled at the goal line, or he could have had a really good day last week. You're going to keep him in your lineup. But know that Ty Chandler's looking good too. So they have a 1-2 punch. If it is the pass rush again, it's this tree. Kevin O'Connell. Let's mention this. Cease, let's just take a moment out to say we are mentioning Sam Darnold, but let's really talk about Kevin O'Connell and how Vikings fans, you guys got this right. Your team got this higher, right? And again, this is supposed to be your rebuilding year. How good could this look when JJ McCarthy is healthy again and he's up to speed in this offense? This is really exciting times, but in the short term, the Vikings could easily move to 3-0, beat a team that is in a Super Bowl window, at least if you ask the Texans, which makes you wonder, is this Vikings team one that we have been underestimating, not just Sam Darnold, the whole team?
Do you want my hot take?
Yeah.
They're better with Darnold than they would be with JJ.
Well,
And
Well,
I love
and
JJ, but JJ does not fit Kevin O'Connell at all, like,
right,
not at all.
right.
So,
Well,
don't let Darnold slip through your fingers.
this is like Jared Goff sees, where you get someone as a stopgap reclamation project, and then you see, well, they make us a good team. Of course, maybe in Detroit they're not feeling that way right now at this moment, but certainly Minnesota they are.
Yeah, yeah, just start dangling him in front of Jim Harbaugh. All right, so let's get Philadelphia, New Orleans. Let's get Philadelphia out of the way so we can get to the New Orleans Saints. Holy cow! Everything about New Orleans. Everything about. I still love Saquon. I still love Saquon. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's get him over 100 yards this time and help out Jalen Hurts, catch the pass. Now, Devontae Smith, of course, Slim Reaper doing his thing. Dallas Goddard with a few catches last week. So
Right.
Philadelphia, you're gonna have to score. So yeah, put your foot on the gas.
This is a game where Jalen Hurts is gonna be pushed to his limits. It's gonna be a good fantasy game for Jalen Hurts. There might be a lot of turnovers here, though. No A.J. Brown, saying he's gonna be out multiple weeks without hamstring, so a lot
Right.
on Devontae Smith. Uh, what can the Saints do to take him away? I mean, play Devontae Smith no matter what. Devontae Smith could have 12 or 13 catches in this game easily, and we will see more Dallas Goedert. Will we see more of some Britton Covey? We'll see more of not Jahan Dotson. The other thing I'm going to watch here, Barkley should be motivated, really motivated in this game. I think
Sure.
Barkley is a warrior. Saquon Barkley is the kind of player that is a team player, and I think that you're going to see him. He looks great, by the way. He looks as good as he's
Yep.
looked in his entire NFL career,
Yep.
and execution. If again, Cease, this is how topsy turvy things feel right now. If Philadelphia can keep up with New Orleans, Philadelphia is smarting. Philadelphia lost a game they should have won. Nick Sirianni. These are the kind of decisions that eventually end up you get fired if you don't find ways to win games. And you're facing the hottest team in the NFL. And let me tell you, Cease, week 1, you could get tickets to the opener when the Panthers came here 2 weeks ago for like $11. Good luck finding a ticket in the Superdome for less than $200 or $300 right now. They are excited. We just had a big second line for Frankie Beverly. Rest in peace. Oh, Mays. Oh, man. See, they printed out a full body length of Frankie Beverly, put him in like a plexiglass coffin and wheeled him through the streets. New Orleans. That's how they do it here. And they are excited about this team. They're excited about Derek Carr. And just when you thought Dennis Allen was the worst the worst head coach in the NFL, right now he's part of the best show in the NFL.
Yeah. Thank you, Clint Kubiak. I know you saw the parade they did in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
When Saints fans do it, you're breaking out the tubas.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
excited,
Yep.
excited in New Orleans, and Fantasy GM's excited because you got, well, everybody. Now with more Chris Olave. Yes, thank you for that. Taysom Hill's going to be okay with the little chest injury. So, what the heck, flex in for him. And you're starting Alvin Kamara. You're starting Rashid Shaheed. Derek Carr may only throw it 20 times. He didn't even get to 20 last
No,
week.
16.
Yeah, so New Orleans has a formula, and it's play action passing. I think it was what's the number, like 53% of the plays,
Right.
something like
Right.
that. It's a Shanahan system.
Yeah.
Shanahan. So there you go, Clint Kubiak.
The New Orleans formula is this. They do a lot of different things and they do them well. So you're always making the defense think. The
Do you know what
defense,
the Shanahan key is, Bloom? Now that you say that,
conflict, putting players in conflict.
but you do the same things, you
Right.
just
And
make
then you
it
flip it.
look different. Yeah,
Right.
then you make it
Right.
look different, and then once they've got it, then you flip it and you do it opposite,
Right.
and that hook
Right.
route's now a hook and go. Like
Yep.
there's echoes, there's rhyming to
Yep.
it.
Yep. It's just behaviorism, right? It's just it's just science. It's just the scientific method. If I present you with this choice, what do? Okay, I know you'll do this. So I'm going to present you with this choice again, but we're going to do the other thing next time. And then you start getting into the real anticipation part where it's like, well, you're going to anticipate the next time that I might do something different. Maybe I'll do the same thing. And that will keep you off balance. But it's making the defense think. It's making them react. Again, it's playing on your heels instead of on your toes. And that could be a real problem for a Vic Fangio defense. I'm sorry. Like when you think of intellectual cerebral defensive play, you don't necessarily think of Vic Fangio defenses. All right. So again, this Eagles defense smarting after giving up that drive to Kirk Cousins, losing the game. I mean, there's a lot of different culprits when you look at how they lost that game. And Derek Carr, see the great question here. Now we're going to get to some real fantasy red meat. Like, who are you starting Derek Carr over this week? A lot of quarterbacks. Are you starting him over like Patrick Mahomes? Sure, absolutely. That kind of question here. You starting him maybe over Anthony Richardson, maybe over Joe Burrow. Facing Washington, but you get it because at some point we we have to stop arguing with this. Back when I used to do the IDP show with Dr. Gene and John Norton, we used to like to say, 1 week could be a fluke, 2 weeks you got the beginning of a trend, 3 weeks it's real. So if this happens again, this is real. Probably will be. So Carr's in, Kamara's in, Rashid Shaheed's in, Chris Olave. Watch, this is your Chris Olave 4 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdown game, and that's it. But this is exciting, and let this continue to remind us that pay attention to who the play caller is. Pay attention to the possibility of change and fit. Like you always say, Cease, the secret is fit, and be open to things you thought were impossible. Because I'm pretty sure if you had said the Saints offense was going to be the toast of the NFL, the best defense or offense in the league through 2 games, you would have got laughed out of the room. Who's laughing now?
Yeah, exactly. Chargers and Steelers. It is a Pittsburgh show now. Here we go. And looks like Justin Herbert's going to be okay. X-rays were negative on his foot. Jim Harbaugh saying he got rolled up on. All Jim Harbaugh's got to do, it's like Mr. Miyagi, right? He just gets in there. All Jim Harbaugh's got to do is like start pushing on that foot, slapping it around. Pat Herbert on the fanny some more. Like, that's all Harbaugh. This is a little Harbaugh magic in those fingertips. And then they have to run the ball with J.K. Dobbins. Give me the rock all the time, everybody. And, quiet week for Lad McConkey. I'm still throwing him as what the heck flex because I love him. Quentin Johnston now emerges as an option for you here. And again, Herbert's going to throw it 20 times. And they're going to run the hell out of the ball.
Right.
Dash of Gus Edwards, lots of JK, there you go. That's a recipe for success. It's against Pittsburgh. So it's going to be a tough one. But this is just what Jim Harbaugh loves. He loves these kind of slobber knockers.
Yeah. Oh, I just did the show with Thomas Emmerich. We do nostalgia, the Steelers show, right? Steelers Chargers AFC Championship game. Sadness. It's not sadness. See, I'm scared. I'm scared for the players on both sides because both of these teams begin with physicality. Both of these teams begin with, you play us, you're going to feel it the next day. So what is that? What happens when 2 teams like that play each other and escalate and escalate and escalate? There's going to be a score. There's going to be a winner or a loser, or at least a tie. There's going to be a final score in this game. But I'm more interested in the final tally of injuries because this is going to be old school. J.K. Dobbins, you keep playing him as a running back 2 or flex, but he's going to split with Gus Edwards. Quentin Johnston, maybe, but I think Quentin Johnston, probably you're going to see Joey Porter on Josh Palmer. So you could see Quentin Johnston maybe get a downfield shot or 2, but is the pass rush going to get home? The player I'm worried about as a Steelers fan, Cease, we do terrible with receivers like Lad McConkey. Bad, like 3rd and 13. So McConkey, what the heck flex here, because I think that's the guy who could slip free. That's the guy who could shake his guy on 3rd down, and the Steelers run defense and the Steelers pass rush should keep the Chargers in check, but keep an eye on Lad McConkey in this one.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on Justin Fields, the Steelers starter. And then, Najee. We know how they want to win. And at home, the recipe will be run, and run some more. Limits your fantasy options, to be sure. So is everyone outside of the running backs not a what the heck flex?
Except for George. George Pickens is playing really well. Don't look at
if only that pass had been good. It's like the greatest pass of NFL history.
Right, right.
It
At least
appeared in his hands.
right, and materialized. He teleported
Yeah.
it down there. So I would say keep playing George Pickens because it only takes one play, and Pickens, this any game could be the game for him that he shows just how then it's going to translate to numbers. Like you said, Najee Harris, he's getting most of the carries, but you're looking at we need a touchdown here. That might be tough. The Chargers defense is pretty good. So that's it. I mean, Justin Fields not turning the ball over, keeping the job, getting the W's. I love this stuff. The Steelers have more wins than touchdowns. Yeah, that's just how they drew it up.
Oh, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Speaking of limited touchdowns, it's time to talk Broncos and
Yeah.
Buccaneers to wrap up the show. A limited for Denver, not for Tampa. Um, this is weird. It's weird. I could do, ass crack and ball sack. I can go into ass crack and ball sack mode at the drop of a hat. So be careful out there. Be careful. Because from a fantasy lens, you're not starting any Broncos like at all. I think there should be a change in the backfield. I don't know if there will be because Audric Estime is hurt. I think you should get more Tyler Beatty. You should get more Blake Watson. He might be their best back. But this is all too premature. Right now, you just want Sean Payton to look like he can coach again.
Yeah. Thanks for saying it. I was wondering if you were allowed to say that because, well, I mean, see stat.
Let's just say this, and the people I talk to. I'm not the only one saying this.
No, no, everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. This is like the Brady Belichick thing all over again, except nobody was wondering if it was Breeze or Peyton. Oh, um, it's not quite Carolina Panthers level, but you are on the offensive side of the ball, just lacking credibility, just lacking any credibility right now.
Why is Bo Nix lead the NFL in passing attempts? He's not the leader, but he's up
Yeah,
there. We just
yeah,
talked about Justin Herbert, who barely throws 20 passes. We just talked about Derek Carr, who doesn't throw 20 passes.
right.
It's like the recipe's there, and Sean Payton's just like, he's not doing Bo Nix any favors at all.
Yeah, the defense is keeping the opponent in shouting distance, so they don't need to abandon the run. Losing Mike McGlinchey is not going to help. So Tampa Bay's defense is banged up in the secondary, but Denver can't threaten in the secondary. They can't. I mean, try something with Marvin Mims or Troy Franklin. Try something. Whatever you're doing, it ain't working. And you're also risking Bo Nix, what confidence he has left. You love that question. I wish I knew. Maybe you should find who asked it. Can you break down that interception for us? Yep. Threw to the other team.
It was
Next.
DMAC, and that was the second time. Like, of course it was DMAC, but it was the second time he was asked about it because Parker Gabriel asked him about it, like almost to begin the press conference,
Uh-huh.
and his answer was okay. And then for whatever reason, D was there for the first question, and I'll see D
Yeah.
today or something. But he went back at it, and he got the shutdown
Yep.
from
Through
Bo
their
Nix.
team. Throw to
I've
their
been
team.
there. Yep.
Next. So yeah, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, you're not putting these guys near your lineup. This is bad. And this is also facing an offense, a scrappy offense, taking on the personality of Baker Mayfield, but also having the cerebral scheming of one Liam Cohen. And yeah, I know that Seattle's offense, Pittsburgh's offense did not run away from Denver and really embarrass Denver's offense, but Tampa Bay's could.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is good, and the Broncos can't stop the run. Now, Rashad White, a little bit banged up. Again, Wednesday morning recording. We'll see if there's any sort of leftover from the groin injury. Bucky Irving could be a problem. His pass catching running backs would be a problem against Cody Barton. Tight ends would be, but you're more concerned about Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
You're really concerned about Chris Godwin. Surtain was, you're going after Surtain this year. People are. So I'm not benching Mike Evans because he's against Surtain, but Evans, Godwin, Dash McMillan, plenty of Bucky Irving. And if Rashad White's healthy enough, they could run with him. And it's Baker, man.
Yeah.
And it's Denver on the road in Florida. Let's just put it this way. Last year they started 0-2, went to Florida and had a 70 burger dropped on them. I'm not saying 70, but if this score was over 35 for the Buccaneers, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because again, as we talked about with the Steelers Chargers game, You just played the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. So you might be dragging ass a little bit in this one. Sorry, Joe.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Joe.
But yeah. So Baker Mayfield, good quarterback. Quarterback one, a low quarterback one. If we were drafting today, I would put him around, I don't know, quarterback 9, 10, 11. In fantasy terms, he's right up there right now. Showed some running ability last week. Weary Denver team. Like you said, the weakness is stopping the run with Rashad White banged up. Maybe this is a little opening for Bucky Irving. In my crystal ball, I feel like this is just going to be a frustrating committee all year. And if there's any reason to stick with it, at least keep these guys on your roster until it sorts itself out. It's because this is a good offense. It's a good offense in part because of Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, though, in the Cooper Cup role, he's, Cooper Cup league winner. Oh, no. Hip drop tackle. Cooper Cup not league winner. Somebody put bubble wrap on Chris Godwin right now because he's just tailor made for this role. And good for him as he's going into free agency to have a chance to really get paid in this role and help your fantasy teams, your bags. That's what the kids are saying now, I think. Maybe Jalen McMillan, Patrick Surtain is shutting down Mike Evans, or you just say, let's not really risk that. Maybe it's Jalen McMillan. Like you said, tight end Kate Otten, if you got to dig really deep. But again, I think the story in the NFC, and see, this has been the story in the NFC for what, like 20 years? Every year it's wide open. Every year you need to expand your mind when you think of potential Super Bowl teams, and you need to expand it to include these Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The dynasties have been in the AFC.
Right.
The NFC is wide open. By the way, is dragging ass like rich man, poor man? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it's like an outdoor shower. That's
Yeah.
rich man, poor man. Like that's either great because you have an outdoor shower, or it's awful because you have to shower outdoors. Dragging ass. It's like, okay, there have been some good moments where that's what you're doing, and then there's bad moments when it's like, oh, I'm dragging ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's most of the time how you have to deal with me in the morning before I
Coffee.
finish this.
Waking up with the audible, and yeah, Denver traveling east better have those alarm clocks set.
No bueno, and it's why they're staying back east. It's why next week I'll be doing the show from wherever it is, West Virginia.
Mountain Mama, take me home,
Ah,
country roads. I'm going to
yeah.
sing a lot more on the show. I hope everyone's okay with that. I like singing. I know I don't have a real singing voice, but I love to sing. I want to burst out in song.
We're kind of in, Donnie and Marie mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna we're at that portion of our career where we're just gonna be like, this is a sideshow.
Right. Yeah,
It's a variety show, right?
it is a variety show. The Mandrell sisters, remember that one?
Of course, yeah.
That was a really good stuff.
Barbara and the other ones.
Right. It was on after football.
Are you ready for some football? The answer is yes, because you don't want any more singing. Anyway, he's Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on Twitter. We need your help on YouTube, though, and that is by liking all of our channels, subscribing to all of our channels, plural. So make sure to do that. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We appreciate you for that. If you want to support the show, we don't do any silly super chats, so please just subscribe to footballguys.com. That's the best way to say thank you, guys. Guys give us, 300 shows a year for free. Thank you. A little drop in the bucket there at footballguys.com. We appreciate you for that. He's Sigmund. You follow him on Twitter X at Sigmund Bloom. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying peace. Stay tuned. Watch these videos and stay frosty.